I would rather talk about
It's cute, Julia.
Daylight come and me want go home.
Otho, are you doing
Work
this?
all night and a drink a rum.
All right, so selfishly, that is one of my favorite scenes of all time, featuring some of the greatest music of all time. That, of course, a clip from Beetlejuice, the entertainment world mourning the loss of one of its most distinctive voices and one of the greatest movie moms of all time. We are talking about Catherine O'Hara, who died suddenly today. She was 71 years old, and tonight the tributes are pouring in. So for more on her life and career, Fox's Ashley Dvorkin joins us now live from Hollywood. Ashley, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime.
Of course. Thank you, Chris, Tony P. That also is one of my favorite scenes of any movie of all time. Catherine O'Hara, such an iconic actress, a legendary comedian, and friends, and those who worked with her, and fans. So many are mourning this loss today. And we're reflecting on her career. So her career, which started on stage where she perfected that improv, she began in the theater in the 70s with the Second City Theater Troupe. That's where she met Eugene Levy. And the two would go on to work together throughout their careers. They also starred in her debut film, 1980's Double Negative. And then in 1988, O'Hara brought the hilariously eccentric Delia Dietz to life in Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, as you just saw. And it was a role that she would later reprise in the sequel, Beetlejuice in 2024. So in 1990, she also played one of the most famous movie moms in one of the biggest holiday films of all time, Home Alone. So Kate McAllister in Home Alone and Home Alone 2. And then later in the 90s, she became part of another famous troupe when she was cast in her first Christopher Guest movie. So all of those mockumentaries, which featured very much a lot of the same cast, including Eugene Levy again, she reunited with Guest and the group. They worked on Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, her and Eugene Levy. I don't know if you remember the Terrier song. That was Best in Show. That was another great scene of theirs. 2003's A Mighty Wind, and For Your Consideration, again, all those Christopher Guest movies. And in 2015, she and Levy introduced Moira and Johnny Rose in Schitt's Creek, a series created by Levy's son, Dan, with a signature style that Moira had and a singular vocabulary. It quickly became an iconic character, and her creation of this character is such a testament to her talent and her comedic genius. The delivery of every line, it wasn't just what was she going to say, it was how, and you just never knew. It was so unexpectedly funny every time, and she earned an Emmy, a Golden Globe, and a SAG Award for that character. This series aired for 6 seasons, and it won 9 Emmys. And among other TV roles, O'Hara was nominated for an Emmy for her guest appearance in The Last of Us Season 2. And then most recently, she received an Emmy nomination for her role in The Studio. So there's so many roles, that's just some. They're very, very iconic. People are quoting these lines today, remembering their favorite movie moments with her, and of course, sharing memories. Chris, Tony P.
So Ashley, do we know anything about what caused her death?
We do not. So according to a statement from her reps, she died at her home in Los Angeles following a brief illness, and no further details have been released. So that is what we know at this point.
And looking at the tributes today across social media and just, actors and the whole Hollywood community mourning this icon, what has been some of the language and some of the things that they're remembering about her and the impact she had on this industry?
Well, Dan Levy recently shared his thoughts, and he said, "What a gift to have gotten to dance in the warm glow of Catherine O'Hara's brilliance for all those years. Having spent over 50 years collaborating with my dad, Catherine was extended family before she ever played my family. It's hard to imagine a world without her in it." And he added, he will cherish every funny memory he was fortunate enough to make with her, and said his heart goes out to her family. And then Macaulay Culkin, who played her son in Home Alone, was one of the first to share his thoughts, and he shared a photo of the two of them in the movie, along with a photo of them when he got his star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And calling her mama, he wrote, "I thought we had time, I wanted more." Seth Rogen, the creator of the studio, shared a tribute, and he said that he told O'Hara when he first met her he thought she was the funniest person he'd ever had the pleasure of watching on screen, and getting to work with her was a true honor. He added she made him want to make their show good enough to be worthy of her presence in it. And we're all lucky we got to live in a world with her in it. And there's so many more. I'll also share Michael Douglas, her Beetlejuice co-star, wrote that they went way back before the first Beetlejuice, and that she has been his pretend wife, his pretend nemesis, and his real life true friend. So those are just some of so many that are sharing their thoughts today on her, and including, fans that just love. They're sharing clips of the shows, and I'm sure many more thoughts.
Yeah, and I think it speaks so highly of her that those collaborations, that people wanted to keep working with her, right. Whether it was Tim Burton with Beetlejuice, A Nightmare Before Christmas, Frankenweenie, then Eugene Levy, like you just said, a lifetime of working together. Some of the most, I had literally just started watching the studio, so do you know, was season 2 in the works? Does she have anything kind of posthumously that we can anticipate seeing her in?
Great question.
So waiting to see if there is anything in the studio. That I'm unsure of. I do know that when Seth Rogen was accepting the award at the Golden Globes, he said that they are filming the next week. So I know that season 2 was filming. Not sure if Catherine O'Hara was in those scenes that they had filmed.
When you look at her career, 40 to 50 years of absolute brilliance, it's really been noticeable to me is how she's been able to cross all these generations from the 70s and 80s and that the boomer Gen X all the way to Gen Z. What do you think it was about her brilliance and commitment to her craft that really allowed her to generation hop basically and be so popular with this fervor and intensity across boomers, Gen X, and Gen Z?
Yes, it really showed such range, but I think in addition to the range of the roles, every single one had a little bit of the same heart, this warmth, and no matter how eccentric and funny, from the Delia Dietz to the Moira Rose, there was always such a heart to the center of them all. And I think that that's what people really connected with. And I think that that showed through. And I think that the people, to your point, Chris, that wanted to continue to work with her, I think that it was, they could learn so much from her too, from her improv and that comedic skill that she had. And I know that when I spoke with Dan and Eugene Levy at the way beginning when they started Schitt's Creek, that Eugene had said, I asked about the collaboration and reuniting with her. And they said, when you're looking for a comedic partner in any project, Catherine is at the top of the list. And there are not a lot of people who can do what Catherine does. And it's true, and she proved it over the years time and time again.
Ashley, did you ever have the fortune of getting to chat with her?
I did not. I'm a lifelong fan of hers. I did get to speak with her co-stars, though, and of course I asked about her, being such a fan of her work.
One of the most recent things, I mentioned that I had just started the studio, but one of the most recent things that I'd seen her in was the John Candy documentary, I Like Me, streaming on Prime Video. And there's a clip in that of her delivering the eulogy for John Candy. And she really, I think we all remember her as being so funny, but as she proved, not just in the studio, even though that is a comedy, but in The Last of Us, she really did have those dramatic chops too.
Oh yes, absolutely. In The Last of Us, and which she was Emmy nominated for. That was it was a very intense role, and if you did see it, it did show again part of that range and the range of roles and the drama that she could do as well.
When looking at this incredible just films and TV, and we all know Home Alone, we know Beetlejuice and that whole series, what are some movies or shows that may not be as noticeable that she was in that someone from any generation could watch to really capture and learn about her brilliance as well?
Well, I'm going to say today I was talking about her with some friends as well, because everyone's a fan of one of the movies. Like you said, there's so many different generations. Right. They either say Home Alone is my favorite or something like that. But somebody was saying that they didn't really watch a lot of the Christopher Guest movies, or they hadn't seen them. And I would say go back and watch them. There's so many different characters that are presented in those. The troupe, that they're so tight-knit and they work so well together. And I just loved every single moment whenever Catherine O'Hara is on screen.
Right. Yeah.
So if you haven't seen those, but you do know Home Alone or Beetlejuice or one of those, I would say check them out.
That's smart. Yeah. Heartburn's a good one, too. Like a Scorsese movie.
Highly, highly recommend The Mighty Wind if you haven't seen it.
That's
it's kind of a
send-up
of the folk scene with all the guys from Spinal Tap playing folk singers.
Right.
Her and Eugene Levy are supposed to... one hit. It was phenomenal. It's so good.
I can imagine.
Ashley, not to put you on the spot, but are you headed to the Grammys this weekend by any chance?
I will be there, and I will have your recap of the big show of Music's Biggest Night on Sunday.
That's what I was hoping to hear. Thank you so much for spending some time with us on the Live Zone Primetime and sharing your thoughts and memories of Catherine O'Hara with us.
Of course. Appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
All right. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to head back out to L.A. The other